Good morning. It's me, Pearl, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And we're about to look at the energetic balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies inside of ourselves. Understanding that whatever state these in, we can see this reflected back to us in people from our outside lives in the material world, but they are only a reflection. So if we seek changes in the dynamics in our relationships, we have to really change that dynamic in the balance between the two parts of selves that are feeling separation when there is only union, right? Okay. Divine Masculine gets to go first today. He has the most cards showing. If you caught it, I pulled the new Major Arcana card for us yesterday. It was the Lovers. This is the next phase for the twins, apparently. And it came out already twice that I can see in the spread. So guess we're in that energy for today. Top of the deck, overall state of the headspace, forefront of the mind for Divine Masculine is this Four of Cups energy. So here we are again in the Cosmic Tarot with the Four of Cups. Now in this deck, we see all four cups arranged in front. Good morning, Ash. I see you. We see them arranged in front. It's not like the traditional images where we see three cups and then we see one that's sort of up here or off to the side, or so it's got an interesting effect on my reading when I look at the card, because the other card seems to be focused about filling up one cup or filling up the cup for the self, something like that. But in this imagery, it's like all the cups are ready and waiting, and they're waiting only for this Divine Masculine to move out of this escapist fantasy world that he's been living in and actually turn those cups into material world experience of some kind. So in the forefront of his mind, he's in this paused energy. There's like a castle in the back. There's like this horse. He's lost in his fantasies right now. He's not here in the real world with us in the moment. He's just escaping. And the niggling thought in the back of his mind is temperance, okay? It's balancing. So that pause, which you could be using for meditation, etc., but I don't feel the energy of meditation from this card. I feel the energy of escaping from this card. And I feel the back of the mind warring with the front of the mind, which is like, stop escaping and be present and allow me to do this healing that needs to take place. Allow me to balance this energy so that you can move from fantasy into reality. But you have to temper this energy within you. And for sure, if you're escaping with substances, that temperance energy there for you, it's calling you in the back of your mind. Like, allow yourself to be healed. Allow these wounds to be healed, and don't run from them or escape from them. So that's what's going on, forefront and back of his mind. The first thing on his mind is the Queen of Cups. And he's seeing her as being pretty emotionally reactive, not really in command of her emotions like the Queen of Cups is known to be. He's seeing her much more in the shadow traits. But I think we're also seeing that he's feeling that she's withholding from him, withholding an expression of her feelings or emotions. He doesn't really know how she feels right now, and which is unusual. The dynamic is usually the other way around. It's usually the King of Cups that's coming up that's not expressing his feelings, So he really wants her to be expressive. He doesn't want her to hold back from him. But he can't get her out of his mind. It's like the first thing in his mind. She's usually kind, she is usually kind, compassionate, caring. There's the words. This is coming fast to me. And instead, what he's getting from her is this withholding energy, and he's not used to it. The next thing on his mind is the Lovers card. So here it is. Just coffee, but geez. Wish it was a little stronger to get through this reading, because here's the Lovers, and it's on both sides, and it's in both of their heads. I will give you that forewarning. And the position is just ridiculous, but regardless. His Queen of Cups is not expressing to him. She's withholding from him, and all he can think about is her and this choosing love. Choosing love was the theme that came up yesterday for them. Just really wanting to be able to have her be in this reunion, really not lose this opportunity that he realizes that this experience within himself results in that spiritual fulfillment, which results in that 10 of Pentacles material world fulfillment. And I just realized I didn't turn over. Oh, damn. Okay. I didn't turn over one of his cards. I just realized it. So Queen of Cups on his mind, the Lovers on his mind, and fucking 9 of Pentacles card, which keeps coming up too, and which is about self-indulgence, and it is about rewarding the self, and it's about divine feminine as a reward, and it has elements in it of trying to release the attachment to the divine feminine as the reward, except that in this case it's upright, so there's not a release going on. It's accepting. It's wanting to reward his divine feminine as well with this reunion, wanting to bring this in. There's like, that's coming to me too, but we still have an attached divine masculine still. We're seeing that there with that, because he's clinging to that 9 of Pentacles, and it's been in that third position in his headspace for days. So it's like he's not letting that go. Not letting that go. So the clarifying card for the Queen of Cups in reverse is the Knight of Swords in reverse. Wow, let's do this. What happens? If the Knight of Swords approaches his Queen of Cups, he will be accepted by her. If the Knight of Swords does not approach the Queen of Cups, he will not see anything. He will not be able to know. He is understanding that without him being truthful, being clear, being direct, and taking swift action, he has lost the right to appear before this queen and hear from her about her feelings, or have received clarity from her, or received truth from her, or directness from her. He has lost this chance to be able to have an open exchange with this Queen of Cups. He's thinking, right? This is his headspace. I lost my chance because I didn't come in and speak truth. And so now I can't receive that Knight of Swords energy from her. So my lack of expression, my Queen of Cups in reverse energy in myself has caused my divine feminine to go into a reverse Knight of Swords energy with me. And now I've lost the right to hear her directly and hear her truth and have clarity about her. He's realizing that's karma. Yep. Okay. God damn it. The clarifying card for the Lovers, you can tell that I am not in control of what cards come out, because I just don't even want to read this. Okay, but I'm going to. All right, anyway, the clarifying card for the Lovers is the motherfucking 10 of Cups. This is spiritual fulfillment for divine masculine. This is what he's realizing. To have this union inside of myself is my spiritual fulfillment. So he's catching up. He's seeing what divine feminine was seeing prior to the new year. He's seeing the reasons. He's starting to understand the reasons why divine feminine did what she did. She went into her Queen of Cups energy because she needed to have this full awareness that divine masculine is now having. True spiritual fulfillment is the union with inside of myself, right? Okay, great. And then we have the King of Wands in reverse, because this divine masculine really cannot make up his mind. Here is a king that is not taking action, even though this is his skill. He's not communicating, even though this is his specialty. He's not following through on his passion, even though this is his desire. But he's holding back his desire because I think he's getting this lesson, however slowly, that the union happens inside of self, that is spiritual fulfillment. And then then and only after that point would there be able to be a physical manifestation of this reward that he's seeking. So he's not taking action towards her. He's not expressing. He's not in his Queen of Cups energy in upright either. He's not expressing, but he's not expressing because he's holding back the shadow traits that come from that Knight of Wands energy, where he was expressing regardless of the repercussions. The action he's taking right now is to not take action, because he's understanding that he has to heal this position in his headspace where she has this hold over him, this physical attachment to her. He's catching up. Okay. I'll calm down now, Jesus. The top of the deck, overall feeling of the heart space is this Nine of Cups. Again, wish fulfillment. This is also not left to the divine masculine. He will get his wish. This is in reverse. It's in reverse again because we are seeing that more traditional imagery of the Nine of Cups where there's an individual who's got a greediness to him. He's got aspects of hoarding his emotions, hoarding his feelings, and hoarding his abundance, and being afraid to share it, not being open, etc. So his heart space is really wanting to release this. He's wanting to achieve his wish fulfillment and be able to come out of this energy of selfishness and really be in a space where he can reciprocate, where he can share. And when it's coming in this way, it's turning it from the Nine of Cups into the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is generosity and benevolence. And so that's not an accident. He wants to shift. His wish is that he would not hoard his feelings, that he would not hoard what he has and be afraid to share. And that is supported by the niggling feeling in his heart space, which is the moon. And this is the vice versa tarot. So we could have seen this card this way, which is in more traditional OG Smith-Waite type imagery. But instead, we see this union of the moon and the star. We have like that same energy of the star, the pouring the unconscious into the material realm. The twin pillars here being united in one energy, divine feminine energy, goddess of the moon energy for sure. This is ruling his heart because it's the niggling feeling. It's underlying everything. So he has uncertainty, he has anxiety, but this is more about that dream space and the subconscious, right? He's there in his head space. He's gone, he's retreated back into this 5D connection that he has where they are united, where they are one, because he's comforted by that energy. And he's uncertain of what is going to come here in the 3D. Oh, no, it's correct. I was going to say, are we missing a card? No, we're not. Oh my God. Okay. The first feeling that we are looking at in his heart space is this victory. So this card is clarifying the Queen of Cups in reverse in his headspace. So this divine masculine really wants to have victory over his inability to command his emotions and express them and be sensitive also to the divine feminine to the point where she can open back up again. So he wants to be victorious and conquer her, and which is, I'm chafing at that, but that's what I'm feeling. He wants to be able to conquer this place that she's gone to where she's withholding. and have victory over that energy so that he can have the lovers back again. And then we have the Four of Cups. So we have a mirror here in his headspace with his heart. His heart is urging him to come out of this reverie, especially because in vice versa, we could have seen the reverie side. We don't, though. We see this side with the ship sailing. And his heart has this urgency, like, if you don't get out of this dream space, if you don't get out of the fantasy, if you don't get out of this 5D energy that you are stuck in, you can watch this ship sail. Bye-bye. Like, if you don't want that to happen, you have to embrace that you are ready for this, that you are ready to stop being in this place where you are escaping from reality. You are ready for reality. And if you don't come out of that energy, it's going to pass you by. So his heart is really feeling this urgency, this fear. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. And it is so interestingly clarifying this Nine of Pentacles energy. And it could have appeared to us in one of two ways, either this way or this way. And when we look at it this way, we see that what is being juggled, what is being balanced, is being observed by. He has an audience for his actions, for his choices. And he is, his heart is really wanting to choose this reward despite what others may think about it. But it's the reason why there's been a reluctance to go forward towards the 3D manifestation of his divine feminine, because he is afraid of how he will be perceived by others. And his heart space is urging him to make the choice despite what others think and to come into the light, which this is another card that appeared in the Lovers reading yesterday. There was union. It appeared 2 times in a very small spread, and it was in its reversal for both divine masculine and divine feminine. And here we see it today, upright in the heart space, because, and not a coincidence to see that upright with the moon either, the star and the moon, the cosmic aspects of this relationship. And what his heart is urging him to do is reveal the truth, because this is clarifying this Knight of Swords in reverse. His heart is urging him to reveal what has been hidden. And what has been hidden is that he desires to be with this specific divine feminine. He has hidden this from others in his life. He has been reluctant to make this choice because he is worried about the perceptions of how others will feel. And his heart is urging him to bring illumination to the divine feminine in his life and actually be an advocate for her in his life and explain the healing energy that has occurred, explain how she was a light for him in the darkness, how he was in darkness, how he's come into the light, how he's learned to integrate this divine feminine into his heart space, to listen to his intuition, to balance the 2 aspects of self. This card, this 10 of Cups, is being clarified by this another 2. There's a lot of information here about partnerships right now. Lovers, partnerships coming together. This is an energy of being at a standstill because you are unwilling to make a choice. This is a divine masculine who is no longer at a standstill. He has released this energy. He is willing to make this choice in front of others because he chooses his spiritual fulfillment, which is being able to come into union in self, integrate that divine feminine, trust in the divine feminine, take away the defensiveness that he's been experiencing towards this divine, or been putting up towards this divine feminine, and also now reflected back to him, his own standstill. she has put him in this energy, and he wants to release this so that he can have his spiritual fulfillment, which is strongly tied to that integrated divine feminine. Strongly. Because here's the strength card. And the strength card is clarifying the King of Wands in reverse. So, our divine masculine feels like he needs more strength to be able to take action and make this communication. He needs to get control over his ego, which is really worried about his perceptions of himself. Get that under control and believe in the strength of the connection between the two of them and take the action and make that big communication. I feel like I just ran a marathon reading that. Damn. All right. Let's look at divine feminine. Oh my God. Okay. This is ridiculous. Holy shit. Also, they didn't get a lot of oracles today, so I feel like they're like figuring it out. Thank God. Okay. Divine feminine. Top of the deck, forefront of the mind for you. Queen of Swords. And she's a gorgeous Queen of Swords from the Fountain. I'm obsessed with this deck. Utterly obsessed. Plus the booklet is fire too. Like nothing better than when you have like little writings about the cards that like give you another layer that you didn't even realize was there before. Really great little book. Highly recommend this deck. Okay. Look at the imagery of the swords in this deck. The swords contain all the colors. Like there's their prism, in all of these cards. And all of the frequencies are contained in them. There's clarity in these cards. There's always this, you can see through the surfaces. You can see through to the heart of things. And I'm really drawn to the meaning, to those meanings in this card when I'm holding this for divine feminine. This is not about her cutting out divine masculine. This is about her seeing the both of them clearly, with the head space fully clear, with using intellect, using analysis, using strategy to understand exactly what has gone on and the truths that exist here between them. And when she is looking at the divine masculine, she's seeing herself. She's seeing through those reflective surfaces, and she's seeing herself looking back at her. And she's very clear about this. And it's leaving her feeling like she's conquered the way that her emotions used to be able to sway her into behaviors that would block her from having fulfillment. So she's seeing clearly. The niggling thought in the back of her mind is this 10 of Wands, and it is in its reversal. So she is feeling like she's wanting to put down this burden that she's been carrying. The burden is actually seeing clearly. The burden is seeing clearly the truth and resisting putting down what she's been carrying, because the truth she's realizing is that she can no longer carry this burden of this divine masculine's healing, right? She can't fix it. She can't strategize it. She can't do it really anything with it. She's just got to put it down. And there's a reluctance to that new knowledge that's there because, first of all, even though it's very difficult to do something, it's usually easier to keep doing that thing than to completely change. Even though the change gives you immediate relief, it's usually just easier to keep going in the status quo, even if it's this uncomfortable. So seeing clearly that truth it's a hard pill to swallow. The first thing in her mind is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is about learning lessons. It's about authority figures, rigid belief systems, marriage contracts, legal contracts. For divine feminine, paired with that forefront of the mind being this, air energy coming from this Queen of Swords, this intellect, this wisdom, I'm seeing that this is really about the lessons that she's learned. The lessons that she's learned about her desires for marriage, her past marriages that she's experienced, if that's a thing for her, for the sacred union that she's longed to experience. She's really learning her lesson about what this truly means. For years, being about this, a legal contract is something that's of this world, right? For years, it's been about having that legal contract with someone else, but now coming to understand that the Hierophant is truly about that sacred marriage, the sacred marriage of the two aspects of self, the relinquishing of the idea of separation between the higher self and the 3D self as well. So it's learning that lesson, and that has made her come into the next card, which is another major arcana. We have 3 major arcana cards in her spread, in her headspace. So she's got a lot of really major thinking that's going on. But before I put this card down, I just wanted to draw attention. Not every single one of the major arcana has the reflective surfaces that this Hierophant energy has. But you can see that air energy. You can see that same prism of colors, right? And this clarity, the ability to see through those reflective surfaces. So that's really connected with that Queen of Swords energy, learning those lessons. And this has made her stronger. And there's the mirror, because divine masculine, of course, was not knowing, not feeling he was strong enough to take this action or make this communication. Divine feminine is fully aware of her own strength. She is conscious that, first of all, the same kind of eternal energy that always accompanies this card, and I'm just looking to see how they worked in the lemniscate, if they did. They actually didn't. Interesting. But nope, it's not at the top either. But she has that feeling of the eternal strength of the connection. And of course, we just saw her reflecting upon the sacred union. So the lessons that have made her strong, the lessons that have helped her understand the strength of the sacred union, how much stronger that is than the legal contract, how it's not even about having a legal contract in the 3D, but how it's about this commitment to the self, to honoring the self. And if you're committed to honoring yourself and loving yourself, then you're committed to honoring and loving your divine masculine. That card wanted to get away from me. She is strong enough to get through this 8 of Swords energy. So we have her in her 8 of Swords, which means we've got her protecting herself, potentially using old sabotaging behaviors, things that block her. And it makes perfect sense if she's entered into a time where she's had to completely rethink. A lot of old behaviors will creep back in that will offer excellent opportunity for her to be able to postpone, right? Wait, postpone, throw some obstacles up in front of yourself, and there you go. You don't have to go to that next part. You can stay in your fear for a little while longer and, ruminate over your lessons and figure out how to go forward. So she's definitely thinking about how she has this potential to be in this 8 of Swords energy. And I think the lessons that she's learned have strengthened her ability to be clear, to see when this is happening, because this is more Swords energy, right? We have her so in the Queen of Swords energy. A lot of thoughts are really kind of going on, and some of that thinking is actually what is sabotaging her. We're not seeing as much connection in her heart space. in this spread right now. This is a lot of headspace so far. And it's not quitting. Here's the 7 of Swords. And it's upright today. And I think what we're seeing is her thinking about how her knowledge about the sacred union is hidden from her. She's thinking about how this authority, this can be source, God, is not revealing something about the sacred union. And I'm instantly called to think about this dream that I had years ago. I've had a couple of angelic visitations, and this was one of them. And it's a whole complicated thing, but there was a tower crumbling in it. There was a lot of different things. But the one of the memory I have is that in the dream, I was in a house that I was assuming was my future. And I found a photo album, and I knew that if I looked in the album that I would see was a wedding album, that I would see who I was partnered with. And I grabbed the photo album and turned the page, and I could see hands like on top of each other, because my parents had like a picture of their hands, and I think that was what I was drawing from. And so I saw the hands, but my hand was on top, so it was masking a lot of the other person's hand. And then I knew that if I turned the page, I would see who it was. And I went to turn the page. I was very eager. And the angel that was in the dream, who had a much larger role in the dream, it was the angel Masheth, who I didn't even know about until after this dream. And I looked the name up, and it was a real angel. And I was like, scared, because he's an angel of the underworld that protects you from idolatry. And he wouldn't let me look at it. And I had the sense that it was just not meant, I was not meant to know. It was not time for me to know. So the divine feminine is thinking about a moment like this, where she has this sense that for some reason she's not meant to know what will happen in regards to this sacred union here on the earth, in regards to that marriage contract or who she's supposed to partner with. She's not meant to know. It's not been revealed to her. So the 7 of Swords isn't about divine masculine today. In fact, all of these cards right now are about divine feminine. And that brings us to the next, the Lovers, which is why when I was like shuffling, I was like, oh my God. So we have union here, and it is the union. It is so significant because it is the phase that we have entered into. So here it is. Both of them are conscious. Maybe they both saw the reading yesterday. I don't know. But both of them are conscious that this is the energy that is currently present. Divine masculine's heart is urging him to be in that state of readiness to receive the Lovers. Divine feminine's headspace is telling her that this is what is strong. So to have the Hierophant, strength, and the Lovers in your headspace is this awareness that it's this clarity about the union that divine masculine is aware of. Because what is divine masculine? Oh my God, I just can't right now. Okay, so first of all, the cards are in the same space in the spread. They appear as this, like, in the second column of cards, so they're related in the space, in the headspace. Below the Lovers for divine masculine is the 10 of Cups. As we progress from the Lovers in divine feminine's headspace to the next card, it is the 10 of Cups. I can't. So it's the future clarifier for the Lovers, whereas the 10 of Cups is the present clarifier for the Lovers. So divine masculine is aware that as I come into union, I achieve my spiritual fulfillment through that union. Divine feminine is realizing that as I achieve my spiritual fulfillment, as I believe in the strength of the connection between the Lovers, as I choose love, then I can progress to my 10 of Cups. Yeah, I can't make that up. The 10 of Cups is clarifying this 8 of Swords. And so now we have to think about this because this wasn't in reverse. So this means that Divine Feminine is aware that she is blocking her spiritual fulfillment through her own thoughts, right? This is the moment where she's like, oh, I'm blocking my spiritual fulfillment through my own thoughts. Divine Masculine is aware that he is blocking his spiritual fulfillment with his fears, his inability to take action. So he is also blocking his spiritual fulfillment with his thoughts. Do you see how you are reflecting? The other thing that's very beautiful about this is that Divine Feminine has an awareness that this pause energy that occurs from the false obstacle that is thrown up with this 8 of Swords energy by the mind, right? It is a protective pause. It protects her spiritual fulfillment because she was not willing to accept anything less than complete fulfillment. So she will then throw up those protective forces. She will guard herself carefully. She will guard her heart. She will be cautious. She will not engage in behaviors that will do anything to jeopardize this complete fulfillment. She does not want it unless it is the whole thing. I can't even believe we haven't done our heart space yet because that is some crazy shit right there. Like, what the hell? And then the top of the deck, the overall feeling of her heart space right now is justice. There's so much Major Arcana energy. It's nuts. Justice. Balancing of the scales. Divine Feminine's heart feels like justice has been done, actually, which is very interesting. So she is feeling like, based on where the relationship was, based on the way that things were flowing between the two of them or not flowing or whatever, they have now achieved a balance, and the balance is actually in their separation, because before the scales were that Divine Feminine was giving and 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 depleting and depleting and depleting. Divine Masculine's ego was getting pumped up more and more and more and more from this attention that he was receiving from her, while in return giving her very little to almost nothing in some cases. That is not justice. But this Divine Feminine has thoughtfully turned the tables. Oh, how the turns have tabled. She has brought herself justice by releasing this attachment to a person who does not match her. And this has done justice to the union. This whole time she thought, oh, the justice is going to come from Divine Masculine. It didn't. It came from herself. The niggling feeling in her heart space is this 9 of Swords energy. So there is a certain amount of restlessness that she would likely be experiencing if she wasn't in her 8 of Swords energy or whatever kind of non-temperance energy we've got going on. But there is this feeling of sleeplessness, like she can't sleep. She's got a lot of thoughts going. We saw her headspace is entirely, in those thoughts, overthinking, sabotaging thoughts. And there's banging on the ceiling right now to emphasize, like there's too much noise. There's too much going on. She feels like it's hard for her to kind of have an experience just like a sort of calm, just a restful feeling. And she's got anxieties and she's got worries about the pain that comes after that 9 of Swords. Oh my God. The first card up in the heart space is the Magician. The Magician clarifying the Hierophant. Like, this Arcana energy is just shocking. Okay? So she feels extremely powerful right now, like she's using all of her tools that she has learned, that she has gained, gathered, collected. She's using it all. She's in a time of manifestation. She's able to manifest this legal contract or good legal contracts that are helping her, work contracts, jobs. She's able to learn her lessons. She's using the tools she needs to learn her lessons. She feels in command, like truly, truly in her energy of empowerment, her masculine worth energy of manifestation right now. Like she can totally make that happen if she wants it to happen, and she will make it happen. She will have a legal contract, a partnership with someone who matches her, and she's no longer attached to who that physical person is. We have the Six of Swords in reverse. And what's really interesting about that is it's clarifying the Strength card. So her heart is fearing that she's not quite learned her lessons. She's really resisting kind of using that struggle and strife to get to that next place because she doesn't know exactly where she's going. And her head is telling her, you're strong enough to survive. You have the ability to build this bridge from where you've been to where you want to go. You can absolutely do this. You are strong enough. But her heart is fearing and resisting having to use this pain, having to feel that pain from that's in that Six of Swords, to use that pain to get her to that next place. But her head does feel strong enough. And it also feels the potential for that sanctuary to come for the lovers, actually, because of that strong connection of their relationship. Her head feels like, no, you need to trust. You need to trust where you are going. You are strong enough to be able to survive this journey. You are going to survive. What's clarifying this Eight of Swords energy in her headspace? Just another major arcana card. The Emperor. This is a divine feminine who in her heart space is in her magician energy. She's in her emperor energy. But there's aspects of the Emperor that are sabotaging her. Rigidity. Dictatorial control. This is very controlling behaviors. Big thing being rigidity, being fixed, being unmoving, not being willing to budge, right? This is really sabotaging her. And the light traits, though, of this card are that this Emperor has the foundation from which to rule. He has abundance. He's creative. He's strategic. He knows how to use his mind. He's a powerful mind, and that is really important right now in her headspace. Obviously, she's very in her head. He's also pretty prone to anger, very kind of explosive and reactive. So this is her awareness that the traits that she has disliked in her divine masculine are the things that are inside of herself that cause her to sabotage and block her access to him. Block her access to an actual manifestation of an Emperor like this, because she is in her own shadow traits in her headspace, being controlling, being rigid. It's interesting because I'm struggling with my Whole30 a little bit on my last 2 days, and just really, deciding that I need, for the next phase, I need something that's less rigid and controlling and something that is more intuitive and trusting my intuition. And so I'm moving from Whole30 into an intuitive eating plan that I'm like journal that I'm going to start trying. And I'm feeling the need to release my dictatorial control that I've had over food for the last 30 days. Like it was very helpful, and I learned a lot from the experience. What's really interesting is I learned that giving up weed, which I gave up, actually did have a detrimental medical effect on me, meaning that The cannabis I was using because of the CBD oil, because I would buy high quality versions, and I was dosing myself medicinally, although I got way more than medicinal, which is why I wanted to become sober from it. But I actually realized that it physically was benefiting me in some way. And my food journey wasn't the same because I didn't have like the medicinal support I needed. So it helped me identify where I need to supplement in my diet. Do I need to supplement with smoking weed? That's questionable because you can now take extractions of CBD oil, etc. Right? So I'm still in my escapist energy with it, but I at least learned this information about the medicinal role that it has, and also working through shame and anxiety and all kinds of things like that. But it showed me too that this rigid and controlling system was becoming comfortable for me. Whereas I wasn't trusting myself to make decisions that were good for my body. I wasn't trusting my intuition. And I was pushing against that because of external ideas about what is healthy or what is appropriate medicine or not, right? So I'm learning all of that lesson. So interesting to see that today for Divine Feminine. How are you being an emperor in the shadow traits and in the light traits for yourself? Ask yourself those questions. Another major arcana card. So after the Emperor, what do we see? Death. This card, right? This card was in the reading yesterday for the lovers. It's here again today. It's been here over and over again. It was even in a personal reading on the same day that it also appeared in the spread. So death is definitely present in the heart space of Divine Feminine. And of course, death and rebirth. And this is clarifying the Seven of Swords. So what I see happening is this lying to the self, hiding things from the self, right? This illumination that's happening for Divine Masculine, but hiding things from oneself, not being in really honest about decisions, choices, behaviors, the way things make you feel, being rigid and controlling, and just not letting yourself live, not letting yourself be alive, being hidden. These behaviors are what is dying and passing away. This staying hidden or allowing things to remain hidden when you choose, when that is really against your authentic code. If you are not living authentically, you're going to feel so much misalignment. Being hidden by a Divine Masculine has been so out of alignment for you. So out of alignment. That's so inauthentic for you. And so that is what has ended. Being under the control of this Emperor, being hidden, having your feminine able to decide what food she wants to eat when she feels called to eat it. What? You're not going to listen to her? You're going to trust like a doctor in a white jacket who doesn't know anything about nutrition, didn't even study more than a month fit? Veterinarians get more nutritional training than our doctors, and they actually, that's not very much either, and they're trained by like Science Diet Corporation. So you do the math on that. Like, just because people have authority, right? We give them this power over us, but the power is ours. As soon as we tap into that Divine Feminine, as soon as we balance that, it's so hard to do for everyone. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It's very difficult to allow that feminine to have an equally powerful voice as the masculine, because we have been indoctrinated to believe that she is weak, that her emotions are weak, that her intuition is inaccurate. In fact, science has started to show us that the opposite is true. If you read Malcolm Gladwell's book called Blink, that whole book is about how the intuitive feeling you get, the gut feeling you get, where we now know we have all of these nerve bundles and things that happen. It's like things that we knew in a mystical way, like through the chakra system, is now just being sort of identified by science. Like, okay, cool. So the brains now that we have verified what our heart already knew. We have to balance this in ourselves first. If it's not balanced in yourself, you can't help others see how effective it is, right? And then we have the Seven of Wands. It's in reverse. This is about no longer feeling like you have to stand your ground against something. It's against the Lovers. You feel that you want to stop fighting this union in self. You want to stop fighting this belief in that strength of the connection. You just want to stop fighting against yourself, against these sabotaging thoughts, against these actions that block you, so that you can have your spiritual fulfillment. There's the Four of Wands. Clarifying this Ten of Cups. Your spiritual fulfillment is the sacred union. It is this manifestation of the sacred union from inside outside, from the inside out, not the other way around. We are so convinced that if we have this, then we'll have this. But no, this must come first. You must have spiritual fulfillment, and then you can have the sacred union celebrated, taking action, communicating, being in that place in the 3D, but only after the spiritual fulfillment has been achieved. This is your headspace, knowing that this is true. Man, I'm exhausted. I'm like so drained right now. I'm glad there's not 20,000 oracles. This is just a lot. Okay. Wow. Okay. Not top of the deck. Oracle messages for Divine Masculine. The archetype card for him today. You are in the shadow attributes of the dilettante, Divine Masculine, which is a pretension to a much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. This is a fear you have. You fear that you're pretentious. I think you might be a little pretentious, but you fear that you are like, this is like a poser feeling, that you're pretending to know more than you know. This is the fear that you have, but it's not real. That's an illusion. You do know quite a lot. You have achieved a lot of wisdom in your experience, and your trajectory into that expertise may not look like everybody else's, but it does not matter. You actually do possess a deeper knowledge than you are allowing yourself to fully tap into. You need to lighten up into the light attributes of the dilettante, which is delighting in the arts without having to be a professional. And you need to be alert to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. So your pursuit of this divine feminine is the most superficial thing that I have ever known. It is a surface level, lame gestures towards her that have no significance. And you know it because your King of Wands is in reverse. So you know it. You know what I'm saying is true. I love you, babe, but it's true. You must shift into the light. You must be more comfortable delighting in something without having to have a PhD in it. And you also must stop being superficial in your pursuit of your desires. Start taking real steps towards the fulfillment of your desires, please. You have a big time protector with you today, a big time guardian, and he's here again, Christ, with the miracle. And you need it. You need a miracle because you have to accelerate your growth very quickly. And you can't do that on your own. You have to be in that temperance energy and allow the divine to do this healing that needs to take place, right? Christ's miracles always involve healing. Let him put his hands on you, or you know what? Imagine grabbing just the very end of his robe as he walks past you. Just touch the material, the fabric of his garment, and you will be healed. That's the power of the divine. He doesn't even have to lay his hands on you. You can lay your hands on him. Every subject is two subjects, wanted and not wanted. Every subject is really two subjects. There is that which you desire and the lack of it. Often, even when you believe you are thinking about something that you desire, you are actually thinking about the exact opposite of what you desire. There's a whale, if anybody was waiting for that symbol. I've kind of been waiting for that symbol for a couple of days. You might believe that you're thinking about something you desire, but you're really thinking about the lack. That's why it's good to get off the subject. When you want something very badly, get off the subject. Just get off that subject. Release your attachment to it. Drop it. Put it down. Walk away. Move on. Do something new with your energy. Focus on something else that you want. And watch what happens. But you can't do that. You cannot do this. You can't be like, I'm just going to stop wanting my person and then my person will come. Because you're not doing what you're saying. You can't fake this one. This is something that happens. It's a process. It's one we've been going through. The divine feminine just did this hardcore, and look at where she is. She's in her power, right? She's in her own power because she's coming into union in herself. She's still fighting off some of those sabotaging behaviors, some of the protective behaviors. She's learning how to stop fighting against what she knows is true. And she's embracing what she wants to be true. So she's still in that journey, but she's done a good job of dropping the thing that she wanted and just being like, okay, so I can't have it. And that takes so much pressure off of the connection because it was the most important thing a minute ago. And now the most important thing is that she feels good no matter where she's at, no matter who she's with, no matter what she's doing. She expects to see, she intends to see that which she wants to see. Before, she thought that meant that the following thing she wanted to see was the physical manifestation of divine masculine. No. What she now realizes that means is that what she wants to see is potential in everything, the ability to have happiness in this moment by going into a state of appreciation. As soon as you enter into a state of appreciation, you immediately enter into that place where you can feel that love from source coming, emanating from everyone and everything, whether you are on a substance or not on a substance. As soon as you start to appreciate, you start to enter into that. It's 10:55 right now on my clock. You start to enter into that energy immediately. That is the lesson the divine feminine is learning. Join her divine masculine. Start putting down the subject of this union. Put it down and walk away. I remember being in the store with my son when he was little and him being like, and I would be like, put it down and walk away. Put it out of your mind. We're going to the next aisle. Like, that was what I had to do. And he was he had sensory processing disorder. So he would look like he had ADHD because he was like, look at this and look at this and look at this and look at this and look at this. And I want this and I want this and I want this. And my reaction to it was always just put it down and walk away. And that was like how he knew that there was not I was a minute from picking him up and putting him in the car or whatever, and he wasn't going to have free reign or, that was his limit. Do that. Set your limit. Get your magic mom, the healed divine feminine, put her to work in your brain. Every time you pick up this thought, every time you go into this anxiety that you're in or whatever, hear that mom gently but firmly saying, put it down and walk away. Trust me. Divine masculine, your hard work is paying off. Your hard work is paying off. I hope that makes you feel better. Now put it down and walk away. Share your voice. Come out of the cave. Persecution and expression. You keep getting this because you fear persecution when you make this choice. You feel you will be persecuted. You know what? You might be. You might be. You could be. You could be completely persecuted. I've been persecuted. It's annoying. But that's it. It doesn't kill you. You do not die. You do not have to start your whole life over again unless you take your own, I suppose. But persecution comes from outside. It's coming right now from inside. And you're fearing what it's going to be like when it's coming from outside. But you're already persecuting yourself for whatever it is you fear you're going to be persecuted for. You're holding it back and you're not expressing because all of the voices you think you're going to hear and you hear what they're going to say, they're already saying it to you. That's why you're not expressing. You're afraid you're going to hear a reflection of what you're thinking about yourself. Own your shame. Own it and out it. Own it and out it. The moment you do that, that power that people have to persecute you is immediately reduced. How can they persecute you if you've already owned your shame and outed it? They can't. They're just going to be standing there with their thumbs up their ass. What are they going to do? All right. You got the protection message from Hawk Spirit, which is from this Colette Baron Reed deck that I am learning. So I'm going to read to you. So I'm learning these cards. They're very beautiful. Let spirit be your guide is the message of this card. And we're seeing it in its protection. Are you noticing red flags? Perhaps saying to yourself, oh, what pretty flags, and giving them no more thought. Hawk Spirit has arrived to tell you to stop and listen to the messages from Spirit. Take the time to observe the patterns you are seeing and do not dismiss your intuition, even if the messages you received are not supported by evidence in the physical world. If it feels illogical to listen right now, listen anyway. Sometimes you might want certain signs and messages to mean what you want them to mean, interpreting them through the lens of wishful thinking, a projection of your desire to see things a certain way. Of course, when you do that, you rarely find yourself where you want to be. Take heart. Spirit loves you so much and does not want you to get hurt, but to align with Spirit's plan for your highest good. Listen and follow the signs and check your motives when you are being selective with your hearing. Okay. I don't think I really need to explain that. That seemed pretty self-explanatory, especially since I went into that whole thing about intuition and that the card is let your spirit be your guide, and it's in reverse, which is like, dude, you're not letting your heart be your guide. You're letting your head be your guide. And Divine Feminine, your head is functioning as a guide to guide you out of your fears. But both your head and heart are in pretty good union right now. There's really a good balance. There wasn't overthinking. There actually wasn't overthinking or overfeeling for either of you, which is also why I'm sure you're not getting that many cards. Although, isn't it interesting that I can still drag this reading out for hours? Okay, here we go. I'm done. Divine Feminine, you are in the light attributes of the bully, which highlights your tendency to intimidate others and helps you confront that made me jump.
9, 1, 4.
Interesting. All right. Highlights your tendency to intimidate others and helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. So I think it's interesting because you got that Emperor in your heart space and the Death card, and the Emperor was clarifying the Eight of Swords. And so what I think is you're confronting your tendency to be a bully with yourself, right? To be too controlling and rigid in yourself. And you're then seeing that reflected back to you from this Divine Masculine. You're like blaming him. You're like, oh my God, he's so controlling and he's so rigid and he like won't move and he's completely fixed. And he's just like pushing me around and trying to make me do what he wants me to do. And I'm so over it. And then you're like deep in your whole 30, like beating yourself up if you have a craving. Okay, no. So you're confronting your ability to be a bully to yourself and also to push around Divine Masculine, right? Because you're in the Emperor energy too. So there's a bit of a bully about you that it's like, if it's my way or the highway, right? So you're confronting this tendency that you have in yourself. And you're also releasing the shadow attributes, which is concealing deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So you're no longer concealing deep fears with this bullying energy. You're confronting that you do have a tendency to intimidate others when you're threatened, when you're cornered, and it's coming from these inner fears that you allowed to bully you that you end up going into that kind of state. I'm very happy to see this card again because I vowed when I saw it again that it would mean that it was time for me to move forward on my initial plans to get my husky, which is right here. Okay, animals. Saint Francis of Assisi is here with you, Divine Feminine. This is about companion energy, companion animal energy. If you have companion animals, you can turn to them right now for comfort. It's about loving the smallest being, the unconditional love, the loyalty that comes from these animals, their connection to their instincts, their trust in their own intuition and that own, the spark inside of them that tells them what to do so that they survive. It's trusting in that connection, that you have that connection with spirit, just as these little animals are provided for. So Saint Francis of Assisi is here with you. I'm excited because I really want my dog. Okay. When my desires and beliefs are a vibrational match, that which is like unto itself is drawn, so the vibration of your being must match the vibration of your desire. Another way of saying that is your desires and your beliefs must be a vibrational match in order for you to receive that which you desire. So if you desire something that you cannot believe is possible, your vibration will match that. What will it match? Well, you desire something that you believe is impossible. So it will be impossible and you will continue to desire it. That's your match. If you can believe that something is possible, which your headspace is starting to do, your headspace is believing it's possible to balance the lovers within, right? It's believing in that balance. It's believing in that sacred union. It's believing in its power to be the magician, you're really there. So if you can believe it, which you can believe in your head, then you can have what you desire. It will match it. What Divine Feminine desires is to feel balanced, to feel her masculine worth energy balanced with her feminine worth energy, like to have those two things in balance in self. She believes that will equal a physical counterpart. She doesn't care who that counterpart is. She's released an attachment. Doesn't mean she doesn't want that one. How do you stop wanting your twin? I don't think you do. It just means she doesn't need that one to be whole. All she needs is to be able to be in her energy herself so that she can attract a match and enjoy a physical connection with someone, anyone. All right. A win-win outcome is forecast. And look at what we see again. The scales of justice balanced. Will I not have a job soon? Will we all be balanced one morning and never need to balance our energy again? Oh, well, you know what? Now I'm second guessing my St. Francis of Assisi card, because the next card that came up is no. Wait, postpone, and say no. So you have to think about how that applies to you today. Waiting, postponing. I think I'm going to hone in on the wait. It's like the universe let me know, hey, this desire for you to get your companion animal is here. The possibility for you is here, but wait a minute. Wait, allow me to work it out. Allow me to sort the details out. I do know that when I put this down in my manifestation list, and I was really specific about it, I said I wanted to find the animal that I wanted it to be a free animal. So somebody would need to, they would need to move and they need somebody to take this animal, or there's somebody who's just giving away, something like this. So I'm going to trust this message of waiting. I'm not going to make any kind of moves right now. I'm just going to hang on a tick And I'm going to like let that decision sort of just be there. That's like, oh, that's what you wanted. You said when you saw it that you were going to consider that again. Here it is. Here's your moment of consideration. But wait a minute. Okay? So however that applies for you, however that message applies for you, just wait a minute, pause, say no for the moment. The next card you're getting is Moth Spirit, which is surrender now. Moth Spirit asks, what is guiding you right now? Are you in alignment with spirit or pursuing something or someone with so much tenacity that it has become a compulsion or addiction? Are you so intoxicated by a potential relationship or opportunity that you can't think straight? Hard work and dedication are virtues, and love, of course, is a beautiful thing. However, when Moth Spirit appears, it is time to consider if you have gone over the edge in a relentless pursuit. Workaholism, overeating, perfectionism, or addiction to certainty, or even to a person may be your current vice. The form of your addiction does not matter so much as awareness of the consequences of remaining persistent when moderation is needed. Let go of your excessive energy by channeling it in more than one direction. The fire burns hot, and you do not want to be engulfed by your passion to the exclusion of all the other pursuits that matter to you. Now is the time for surrender and radical acceptance, so that your drive does not cause you to flee or to fight. Spirit wants you to release your need for certainty and control, so that you can relax into a more balanced way of using your Moth Spirit energy. Banish the shoulds and musts so that you can enjoy what is as you allow for what might be. These cards are brilliant, and that fits so much with that banishing, that death of the emperor, that death of that rigidity and control inside of self. That's got to go. Okay. Final cards for the union. Hey, this is a long reading. 111:44 I just looked at. All right, there we go. You are both in the light attributes of the exorcist, which is freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. So you have the potential right now to get rid of that Eight of Swords energy, to unblock that, to get rid of that rigidity, get rid of that dictatorial control, divine feminine. You're well within your abilities to expel that energy. Divine masculine, you're second guessing of yourself, not believing in your own strength, not believing in your ability to make the right choice, being afraid of persecution. You are in a position where you can free yourself from any destructive impulses that might keep you from going forward when you know that is what you desire to do. Mother Mary is here. You have Jesus and Mary with you, and St. Francis of Assisi. You are a highly protected couplet. This is all major energy that's with you, not just guardian angel energy, which is significant, of course, but really potent, powerful father-mother energy and unconditional love, nurturing, being really safe and being protected. This is in reverse. We've gotten this before, and I think the reversal is interesting. It's an emphasis on it because you're both not quite getting it. So listen carefully. A consistent formula gives me consistent results. Like learning to understand the basics of mathematics and then having the successful experience of understanding the results of their applications. Once you have a formula for understanding your world that is always consistent, it will yield consistent results to you. So you need to practice this formula and trust in the consistent results, that what you think is what you can expect to see. And if you can get into a state of appreciation and not be in a state where you're also activating limiting beliefs, you can consistently see your manifestations. The twins, the full moon in Gemini, this is the answers you need are coming. The answers that you need are coming. So just hold on to that. You will see everything that needs to be seen in due time. Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, is here, seeding the light, laying the foundations, and divine plan. So there is a divine plan here for the two of you. This is generations, and it's also, it took generations to bring Jesus here. He's here in the reading. And Mary is too, her daughter, and his grandmother is here. Like, this is a crazy amount of divine energy. But there's that understanding that there's this divine plan, and that if it is not in this lifetime, then it will be in another lifetime that you will physically connect. Just really trusting in that. And then koi fish spirit is here. There is always enough. And I've received this card enough time to really understand its messages, which is when it's coming here upright, you're feeling like you're in a small pond, right? But the koi fish actually survives well in the small pond and is unique and able to see that abundance in the moment and experience that abundance right now that is here, and trusts in it and believes in it, and is able to reach great heights, great size, even in this small pond. So it's not being afraid of where you are. It's trusting in that abundance and trusting in that energy to flow to you. And then I'll close this reading out today with this goddess energy, which, Lord, help me pronounce. Latzoltl. Latzoltl is a Toltec earth mother, the goddess of carnal love and desire. Like Kali in India, she is portrayed as a horrible, devouring figure, yet is also honored as a moving creative principle. She is sometimes pictured as four sisters, the four ages of woman, who are present at the crossroads of one's life. Latzoltl is best known as the eater of impurities. Once in a lifetime, a person confessed her worst deeds and sins to Latzoltl, holding back nothing. In return, the confessor received absolution. No impurity or defilement was too great to be forgiven. Latzoltl is that deep part of ourselves that we fear because it is so powerful and unfamiliar. Yet when we touch her through her fearsome countenance, we find absolute mercy. She is proof that anything that can overwhelm and destroy us also has the power to heal and grant forgiveness. Okay, that's a pretty great goddess to have with us today. That no impurity is too great to be forgiven. No impurity or defilement is too great to be forgiven. And this deepest part of ourselves that we fear, she helps us to face these things, to face these truths, to face this clarity that we're seeing in this, in regards to one another, in this divine connection. That was a big, long reading. I'm really glad that I ate before this reading because it really took a lot of energy out of me. Wow. I hope that you all have a wonderful day today, that these messages help you throughout your day. If you need personal guidance in any way, whether that's tarot, spiritual counseling, nutritional counseling, tunedintarot@gmail.com. You can reach out to me there and I will help you wherever you are at. I am going to start doing submissions for the Lover's card for the song that you feel embodies the themes and meanings of the Lover's card. I will start to put that up. Check out my Instagram stories in the next few days. When you see that question go up, answer the question inside of the question box. Please type it into the question box, not the comments. And then I will start creating that collective playlist that we will shuffle from and be able to offer free readings for the songs that come up during those shuffles. Okay. Have a wonderful day today. I shall see you all soon. Take care.